Hey there's he Hey there, heroes and heroines. It's good to see you. DJ Studs here with Little Hearts Academy, and it's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night. So where else would I be but here with you? So today we're talking about resilient kids and resilient families. But before we get started on that, I just want to uh, tell everybody that next week I won't be here. Um, I will be on an airplane returning home from Houston and seeing my daughter and her family. And so we're very excited to see them. We don't get to see them very often because they're on the other side of the country, but I'll take every chance I have. So anyway, it's a lot of fun and I'm looking forward to that visit. Um, and then the other thing is, yes, I'm still hawking it. Roman is bigger. If you haven't bought it yet, you should. And this would actually make a great Christmas present for your kids or maybe grandkids or your child's teacher for a classroom edition, um, nieces, nephews. So my grandson is in second grade, and so he was reading it. Some of the words are a little bit gallant and um, what else? Hysterical and terrified, frightened, as we're going through and learning about vocabulary. So Roman is a little guy that has big feelings. Yes, he does. But the simple words that a lot of young kids have, like mad, sad, glad, happy, hungry, silly, that sometimes they just don't cover what they're really feeling. No, I'm bigger than mad. No, I'm bigger than happy, right? And so he's learning about finding accurate words to express how he is feeling. Not only does that make him feel better, but it helps the other people who are around him understand how he is truly feeling. And then they have a better idea of how to help him manage through. And then at the back, if you're a teacher or if you know a teacher, if you love a teacher, there's actually a lesson plan for teachers to use as they are working with the book. And it's also great for homeschoolers so that they can use that in their homeschooling. Parents who want to find other ways to use the book to encourage vocabulary. There's also a parents page in the back to talk about how important vocabulary is and ways that you can help your child. We know that they are actually, when they're ahead of vocabulary, they have more words with them when they come through. That, I'm sorry, dealing with allergies today. When they have more words, when they come into education and as they go along, they do better academically and they do better socially and emotionally when they have more words to use to express what's going on inside to help them with problem solving and all of that. So that's just kind of what that book is about. It's a lot of fun. My illustrator, who is fabulous, her name is Nadia Kolpak, and she is actually in the Ukraine. She's Ukrainian and she's living there, and they've had some scary times, but they're pulling through. And when I ask her if she needs anything, she says that she is, they have what they need, and what they could use is prayers. So if you want to remember Nadia Kolpak and her family, that would be a wonderful thing. Okay. So anyway, let's go on about um, having resilient kids. So my guest this week, her name is Lynne Kendall, and she's from down under. She's got this really fun accent, and I thought it was funny when she says, yeah, it's yar, yar, something like that. And she is so fun, but she's so knowledgeable, and she really knows her stuff. She's been doing this for a long time, and so her goal is to help children and then families too, because adults have trouble working with their feelings and their emotions, and adults have trouble with resilience. And when the grown-ups in the family struggle with being resilient and snapping back after something hard or something difficult happens. And some of us are more sensitive, I guess, than others, right? Um, it affects the kids, it affects the families. And so we talked about things for kids and helping them, but also for adults and helping them so that they can have not just resilient kids, but the whole family can work together to support each other to be resilient, right? And so that's something that's so important and so um, not satisfying, but it just helps everyone. It helps the kids grow and to manage life because life is a little scary. I was doing a workshop today, an online workshop with some people, and we were talking about how scary is too scary for kids. We've got Halloween coming up and some of that, but we talked about scary happens all year long, and we tend to talk about scary fun things around Halloween, but there's a lot of stuff that scares people. And I remember for me, I was 6 years old. I was in first grade when JFK was assassinated. And I remember the teachers coming out. I was on the play. I mean, I remember every moment of that. I was on the playground. Teachers came out and they told us all to go in, get our coats, get our lunch boxes, and to go home. And back then, everybody had a mommy at home that they could go home for. And as did I. But what scared me, I didn't know why I was going home. I didn't know what was going on. But what scared me was all the grown-ups were crying, like sobbing, having trouble getting their words out, right? And so I walked home. It was about a mile. And I walked into the house, and my mom was sitting in the family room at the back of the house. We always had to go in the back door. And she has laundry all around her, and she's folding clothes, sobbing. So then when I saw my mom was crying too, I lost it. I was scared. I was really scared because that just didn't happen. That wasn't normal. That wasn't okay. And so that's what really scared me. When children are going through something that is scary, and not just a ghost popping out, boo, right? But something that's truly disturbing, and the adults are losing it around them, it's going to be more traumatic and harder for a child to manage through when the adults are not able to manage through it. And so we really need to figure out how we can do it in a way that is going to help the children more. So I hope that makes sense to you. So Lynne has this framework that she calls PACE, and it stands for playfulness, acceptance. I know, I make notes. Playfulness, acceptance, curiosity, and engagement. And so, with family communication, that, sometimes it's good to just have fun and be silly. A child falls down, right? Oh no, are you okay? Oh dear, oh dear. We've all seen a child that falls down and they don't cry until they look up and see their mom or dad. And how upset is my mom and dad, right, at my fall? And if mom and dad are like, hey, are you okay? You got it? Yeah, I'm okay. All right, go have fun, buddy. Or, oh, no, no, no. And then the child starts crying. I think we've all seen that. I know I have many times, right? And so when we can approach things with a feeling of playfulness, but not a lack of caring. There's a balance there, and then you can help kids manage through some things. And then the next one was acceptance, right? Oh wow, that looks you know scary. That I know this is hard. Um, or taking the time to a child and say, so something a little scary is happening in another part of the world. I was in Oakland, California at the time. A lot of scary things were happening in Oakland, California in the 60s. But that happened in Dallas. And, so I was safe. And that's what I needed to know at that time. And so, when things are going on. So now, when we think about things like, okay, COVID, that was going on close to them and they needed to know some things, right? But they also needed to not have adults be afraid of oh, that person doesn't have a mask. Oh dear, oh dear. Now we know the masks really didn't work, right? So we've got that. We've got other things like, the riots of 2020, and they're seeing that on the news. That could have been very traumatic and scary for a child, especially children who lived in those cities where this was happening. That could have been a very scary, scary thing for them. And then we've got, even now, we had Ukraine going on, and that's all over the news and the fighting and stuff. Now we've got what's going on in Israel and that stuff that's going on. So some kids may see what's going on and think that's very scary. How much information are they getting about what's going on? And when they hear about things that are happening to other children that are their age, and when we're talking about war, when we're talking about what happened in Israel, and the things that were happening to other children, that is going to be very scary for our kids. So we want to be very careful about what are they watching, and what are they hearing, right? And then how are the adults around them behaving? And so are we reassuring our kids and talking to them? And then maybe there's something they can do to help if they are showing more signs of stress. So feeling like I'm doing something kind. So I can draw a picture and maybe write a letter or a note, depending on their age and, their understanding. And, we can send it to, an Army person. The U.S. doesn't have any Army, active Army in either one of those locations right now. And we'll pray that it stays that way, but it may not. So, but just sending it to someone can help. Feeling like they're doing something, gathering supplies to be able to send over, donating. There are groups that are donating to, hygiene kits and basic needs that you can send over. And you can connect with nonprofits and charity groups that are getting things together for the people that are there, talking about, we're going to help. This is going to help a child, whether it's a toothbrush and toothpaste, or, maybe a nice warm blanket or something that they can participate in to feel like they are making it better. That's going to help them too. And so that's something that you can, you know, do it. And that's part of the engaging part, and being curious about, what can I do to help? What can I do to make this world a little less scary and a little better? And then thinking about um, our minds and our bodies and how they are reacting to what's going on. So there's a physical part of being scared. My tummy hurts, right? That's a sign that your child might be scared. And so you can say, well, how does it feel? Um, and maybe it's tight and in a knot. But think about that. As adults, when we're scared, and whether it's scared about, am I going to be able to pay the bills? Do I have enough to put food on the table this week? Do I have everything in line for school, or whatever it is, making payroll, or, there's a ton of things that scare us as adults, right? Are my kids safe? Are whatever's going on? There are things that we get scared of. So what are our reactions? Pretty much the same as kids in a lot of ways. Tummy gets tight, right? We get nervous, headaches, changes in our eating pattern. You'll notice that with the kids, but don't we also have changes in our eating patterns? Some of us stress eat. Some of us, when we're stressed, we can't eat a thing, right? Sleep patterns. When sleeping patterns are off, that's another sign that maybe something's going on. And so, when you're looking at some of those things, and we talk more about some of those signs that something is going on with the kids, but when you notice those things, what are some of those things then that you can do to help your child with, you know, moving forward in that. So, you know, be aware of what's going on. Be aware of changes, different little changes in their behavior. Maybe they've all of a sudden become very clingy, and when they normally weren't very clingy, that might be a sign that they're dealing internally with something. Kids won't always tell you when they are um, scared or when something's going on inside. Sometimes kids feel embarrassed that they're scared. Sometimes they feel like they're picking up that mom and dad are scared or concerned about something, and inherently they don't want to add to that, and so they keep it inside, and yet they add to it with their reactions that they really can't control. You know, they can't control that their tummy hurts. They can't control that they can't sleep. They can't control, you know, they want 15 glasses of water because they don't want you to leave. They want the light on. They want, you know, because they're scared. And so they're not putting words to it. So sometimes you have to be a little bit of a detective and make sure that, you know, you're helping them through it. But Lynne talks about, and if you listen to the podcast, because I can't do it the way she does, she explains it very well. But she talks about how you take it about, oh, you are, you know, how are you feeling? Instead, she says, what's your body doing right now? Is it tight, right? Does it feel, oh, your body is telling you that. Oh, your brain is telling you. And so then it kind of almost removes it so that a child can learn that, oh, I can manipulate my brain. Oh, I can take a breath and I can, you know, help my tummy calm down, right? And so you have to listen to the podcast. She does a great job of explaining exactly how it is doing and how we can investigate. What are some of the questions that we can ask and talk to our kids about? Like, you know, oh, what did you learn in school today, right? Um, what did you do with your friends? And maybe think about recess. And it could be something that just happened at school. Maybe the kids learned about something that troubled them at school, or maybe there was a bully going on, or maybe they had an unkind teacher. It happens. I hate to say it, as a retired teacher, it happens. So maybe their teacher was unkind to them that day or something. But, you know, as you start asking questions, that might be a way to find out what's going on. And so we talk about giving our kids the language now. Talk about my Roman is bigger, giving them language to express how they are feeling, what is going on, how are they doing inside? And when they have the right language to really put words, accurate words, to what they are feeling and what's going on inside, what are their fears? I wasn't afraid that President Kennedy died. I didn't, you know, whatever. I understood he was the president. I didn't know what that really meant in first grade. What that meant to me, what I was scared about was the grown-ups, and yet the grown-ups were assuming that I would be scared because President Kennedy, whatever, who is he, right? He's this guy that I know my mom liked and my dad didn't. So anyway, it was just a, you know, so really sit down and take a look at what's going on, talk to the kids, get the truth, and understand that when they are scared, it's just that their nervous system is overloaded. That's all it is, really. Their nervous system is overloaded. And as we give them the tools when they're young to manage through their emotions, to manage through difficult, scary, hard situations, you know, family members die, accidents happen. Um, you know, there are natural disasters, there are man-made disasters, right? Um, and then there are things that we blow all out of proportion, scare the crap out of our kids, you know. when I hear about kids having nightmares about global warming. Why are they having that? Because we're scaring them. Stop scaring them. Let's be honest and reasonable about what we understand and let them know they have a future. They have a life to live. And because a lot of these kids are just feeling like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We're all going to die anyway. And even if that were true, is that really the message we want to give our kids? Right? That's why they don't tell anybody in the movies that the asteroid is coming. They save it. So anyway, let's help our kids. Let's help ourselves, and then let's build resilience as a family tradition. And then we're going to be a lot better off. So in 2 weeks, I'll be back. I won't be here next week. Like I said, I will actually be on an airplane at this time. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for being a part of it. I'm going to pop over to Instagram. I'll be on in 7 minutes. And so until the next time I see you, let's find joy in parenting. Bye, guys.